We take things in a very different direction today as I take a look at 4 books on getting organized. This is Tom Fox, and welcome to the Sunday Book Review. The Sunday Book Review is a book review where I curate 4 books on a specific topic for the compliance professional or the business executive. I know you'll enjoy it. We add a 5th book to our usual list of 4 to consider tariffs and trade wars. All of our books today come from a curated list by the Financial Times in an article entitled 5 Books to Boost Your Understanding of Tariffs and Trade Wars. First up, Why Politicians Lie About Trade and What You Need to Know About It by Dmitry Grozoubinski. It's a layperson's guide to international trade, and the book wears its mission lightly. It's an entertaining read with a former Australian government official illustrating how global trade affects the lives of the ordinary citizens. It aims to play up his part in equipping non-specialists with the knowledge they need to scrutinize the arguments of lobbyists and lawmakers rigorously. Next, Trade Wars Are Class Wars by Matthew Klein and Michael Pettis. The authors are an economic commentator at Barron's and a professor of finance at Peking's University, Guangzhou School of Management, and they analyze the history of U.S., China, and Germany over the past 3 decades to build their argument that an upheaval in global trade policy can only be understood in the context of domestic pathologies in the leading economy. Boy, is that appropriate to the Trump administration. Next up, Misadventures of the Most Favored Nations, Clashing Egos, Inflated Ambitions, and the Great Shambles of the World Trade System by Paul Blustein. Blustein's forensic account of the Doha round of multilateral trade talks might have been even more damning had he written it 6 years later when the WTO declared it dead. The veteran economics journalist paints a picture of repeated setbacks and disappointments, sketching a colorful cast of characters along the way. It's an interesting read. Next up, Kicking Away the Ladder, Development Strategy and Historical Perspective by Ha-Joon Chang. Chang studies the historical pressures applied on developing countries to adopt a set of good policies and good institutions to foster their economic development, largely driven by what's worked over the centuries for the best Anglo-American powers. He breaks down the debate about whether the same theoretical-based propositions, i.e. free trade, benefits all countries. And our final book is No Trade is Free, Changing Course, Taking on China and Helping America's Workers by Robert Leitzinger. No Trade is Free makes the case for the protectionist side of the debate. The author, the U.S. Trade Representative in the first Trump administration, levied tariffs on China in 2018. Here he writes that a radical free trade agenda of the past 2 decades was an anomaly for the U.S. and for all other great economies, which were built behind a wall of protectionism and often with government money. A desire to see America shift away from the mostly consuming to doing more building and manufacturing is core to his long-held beliefs. Perhaps more contentiously, he argues for the rebalancing of the country's trade deficit with China. That's certainly going to be a difficult push. The tariffs and trade sanctions, while may not seemingly fall within the realm of the compliance professional, I think fall directly into compliance's role in overall risk management and strategical planning for risk. Even if it's nearly impossible to plan for what the Trump administration does, you have to have the flexibility to be ready literally overnight when new sanctions are levied. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I hope you will subscribe or rate and review wherever great podcasts are listened to. Have a great weekend. I'm proud to announce the latest podcast in production in the Compliance Podcast Network is our next season of Adventures in Compliance, how Sherlock Holmes informs your compliance program, in which I dissect the 4 novels of Sherlock Holmes. If you want to upgrade your compliance, check out the Compliance Tip of the Day, the Gold Award-winning compliance podcast, which gives you 1 tip with 3 key takeaways of something you can do each day at little or no cost to improve your compliance program. But speaking of books, if you like something new and different, check out the Compliance Kids series on Amazon.com, which explains compliance through the eyes of children. If you have a category of books you'd like explored on the Sunday Book Review, please shoot me an email at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. The Sunday Book Review is a production of the award-winning Compliance Podcast Network.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.